Hey everybody, welcome back to Browns Talk. This is the pregame show for the Baltimore Ravens game, our first game of out of two in a row against the Ravens. This one's in Baltimore tonight on Sunday Night Football. So let's go over what I think we need to do to win. Injury front, we get Kareem Hunt back, we get Jack Conklin back, and it looks like we might get Donovan Peoples-Jones back, which would really be huge. So we're going to hope that ends up being the case. I don't think Schwartz is going to be back. Not that that's necessarily the end of the world, but obviously you'd like to see him back. The more options, the better. But Kareem's going to make a huge difference, obviously. This is going to be the first time we've had Kareem and Nick Chubb since the Chargers game, and we put up a lot of points in the Chargers game, and they did pretty well. So having both of them together is really important. Having Jack Conklin back is really important because Blake Hance is all right in the run game, but in the pass blocking game, he's really bad. And him being out on the field so much this year is probably at least some of the reason that Baker's as banged up as he is, because he's just got really bad pass blocking grades all year, and you can see it when you watch the game. You see pressure coming off that side a lot. So he did a little better when he's at left tackle, but I mean, it's not his job to be a starter and be out there blocking TJ Watt and stuff like that, so you can't blame him too much, but it's obviously better to have Jack Conklin back. So those are going to be huge additions. Having Donovan Peoples-Jones back would be huge because as much as I love Jarvis, Donovan's much better downfield receiver than Jarvis is. You know, Jarvis is kind of that underneath guy. He gets the ball and he creates stuff after the catch with it really well, and he's definitely the best on our team at that. So having both of them together out there would make a huge difference. We're going to need Hollywood to have a good game. He hasn't really had any great ones this year, so with Schwartz being out, all three of those guys having a good game would, or just one of the three and Nick and Kareem having a good game would be enough. So the big thing on offense, though, at the end of the day is going to be Baker has to play better. Everybody watched that Lions game last week and saw how bad that was. There was moments where he had really good throws, and it's either the injuries catching up to him or he just is having a lot of mental lapses. And I think it's kind of probably a combination of both. Obviously, if you're hurt that badly, it's going to have some effect on how you play. With that being said, he made some throws in that game that show you that when he's mentally, there and on target, he can rip the ball still. And he made some really good throws in that game. So it's hard to just be like, oh, well, the injuries is the problem, and that's why he's throwing bad. Well, if that was the case, then he would mechanically be off to where he's throwing bad all the time, in my opinion. And he's not. He's not. So I think a lot of the problems is decision making and his mental errors, which is kind of, the 2019 Baker we saw where he wasn't really put in a good position, and that got to him. And I think maybe the fact that the line and pass blocking this year hasn't done as well as they did last year because of a lot of injuries and stuff, maybe contributing to that. Maybe the injuries are in his head and it's contributing to that. I'm not sure. But you just need him to have a consistent game where he makes those throws most of the time and he doesn't have the huge gaffes that he had, like the 2 interceptions against the Lions were both on him. One was just a bad read and he threw it right into a linebacker and it got tipped and caught. That's, mechanically nothing was wrong there to make you think that the injury had any part in that interception. Now, the one to Jarvis, though, he overthrew Jarvis like 10 feet over his head. So that one, he made the right read. Jarvis was wide open. He had absolutely dusted that corner. And Baker just launched a terrible ball there. So that's the kind of ones where you think maybe an injury is getting to him or maybe he's overcompensating for a shorter throw he made earlier on. It could be either one of those. But at the end of the day, I think he's... a lot of people say they want to start Case Keenum because he's hurt. Most of the injuries that Baker's had aren't going to heal, super fast or anything. 1 week isn't going to really do a ton. What we really need is him to just be consistent because Case Keenum cannot throw the ball down the field like Baker can. He is not nearly as good as Baker is, and even a hurt Baker Mayfield is better than him. And I know a lot of people don't want to listen to that, and he's the highest paid backup and all this stuff. And I get all that, but he is a backup for a reason. He would have got more money somewhere else if he deserved to be a starting quarterback, and you can't forget that. So having Case out there is not going to be a good thing, and we should not want to see that. So I get why some people think it would be a good idea. I'm not discounting that. I'm just saying you shouldn't root for it because it's not a good situation if we're in that situation. So what we should be rooting for is Baker to get his act together, not, let's just get Case in there, I'm done with him. So, yeah, Baker steps up. I think this is a good game we can win. The Ravens haven't been blowing people out this year. Hopefully we don't give them one, but, they barely beat the Lions. They've barely squeezed out a lot of wins this year, and a team like us that runs the ball way better than most of the people they face can kind of close that window better than a lot of teams can. So if we can just get up on them and then let Nick and Kareem do their thing, that's how you win this game. You don't give the Ravens a ton of time. You don't let them sit there and run the ball a ton like they're used to, which lets you sit back and cover their pass, because their passing game has progressed a lot, but it's progressed a lot because they run so well that people have to defend that. So yeah, they're in a similar situation to us. The difference is our passing game is progressing and not consistently, at least. Baker's had a couple good games this year, but nothing you would have expected after watching how consistently he was playing last year, especially in the last half of the year. So, okay, defensively, I hope that we do some things differently, but I don't want to do what a lot of people are saying. And I actually wrote into Quincy's Q&A about this, and asked, should we do some of what the Dolphins did? Because I think a lot of people, and I think this is kind of how he kind of took my question. Maybe he just kind of like misread it a little bit or misunderstood it, but a lot of people want to just run a lot of zero blitzes like the Dolphins did because it worked. I mean, the Dolphins don't have a great offense and still managed to pretty much control that game against the Ravens for the entire game because the Ravens couldn't do anything. But at the end of that game, if you watch it, the Ravens did start figuring out ways to get around it. It was just too late, plus that fumble by Sammy Watkins, they were getting the ball moving, and then you have a fumble like that, and it gets returned by Howard. So they just kind of figured it out too late. And that being said, they did figure out options. So a lot of people want to say, well, just do what Miami did. Well, it's not going to work again. And it's not like they figured Lamar out and he can't run against the zero blitz. That's not how good quarterbacks work. You don't just figure out one thing that stops them. They work around it. People have said Lamar's figured out before when he has bad games, and it's just not the case. So I do think that I would like to see them run some of that scheme, every once in a while, put a bunch of people up on the line, drop some of them back, and blitz. I do think that we should run some aggressive stuff like that, but I don't want to do what a lot of people, think, we'll just do what Miami did. It worked really good. And that's just not how it's going to work. So not only that, we don't have the personnel Miami has. So not that our personnel's bad or anything, but it's different. So different things work for different groups. I definitely think we should run some things like that and use it as a disguise. I definitely think we do not want to run this soft crap that we run on third downs a lot this year. I mean, our defense is like one of the worst on third downs, but one of the best on first downs. So I hope that Joe Woods does some things differently for sure. We really need Miles and Clowney to have a good game, and not even necessarily a good game. Like, they don't need to get 6 sacks between the two of them or whatever, but like a good game in where they're not over pursuing too much and letting Lamar just leak up the middle all the time. And on that case, we're going to need the Maliks and whoever else rotates in there in the middle to not let that happen. But they can't be overshooting and getting too excited around the edges like they do sometimes against Lamar. So we're going to need them to have a good game. Some sacks would really make a huge difference, though. We got to get turnovers, dude. The Ravens are prone to turnovers. They've had some fumbles issues and stuff like that. Getting turnovers and getting a lead on them, like I said, in the offensive portion, you need to get a lead on them. How do you get a lead? Very easily. You get a turnover where you have a short field, you score after you've already scored, preferably, and you get up 2 scores real quick. So turnover is the easiest way to build a lead on somebody really quick and take them out of their running game, which is the main way you're going to beat the Ravens, is take them out of their running game as much as possible. They're never going to abandon it completely because they're good at it, but you want to take away them being able to do it over and over and over again and take out a lot of clock time. So turnovers have to happen. Somebody force a fumble, Denzel get another interception, something. We need turnovers to beat the Ravens. So I don't see a game in which we don't get turnovers and beat them. So that's really important. And just don't let the Chargers thing happen where we're letting people get wide open, because their receivers are not that great. No offense to them. They're not bad. I mean, Bateman's good. Hollywood Brown's good. Sammy Watkins is good, but they're not great. So we just can't have any blown lapses like that. Get a couple turnovers, and I think that this is definitely a winnable game. And winning this means a lot because, we have the bye week. They go play the Steelers, who are getting absolutely trounced by the Bengals right now as I'm recording this. Last I checked, it was 31-3 going into the half. So the Steelers might not be as tough a game for them as I thought, but it is a division game. Those teams don't like each other. So they're going to have to play us, the Steelers, and then we get a bye while they're playing the Steelers, and we come back, and they got to come to our house and play us again. So if we can win this one in their house, it puts us in a really good momentum spot where we can get a bye, come back, face them again at our house, knowing we just beat them and there's no reason we shouldn't again. If you win both of those, you're up there with the Bengals. They're at that point at the top of the division, and the Ravens and the Steelers are starting to fall behind, which, what a weird thing to even say. So you have the same thing happen. They beat us twice here in a row. We're in trouble, like serious trouble. The season's getting to where you're going to have to be a spoiler team and hope some other crap happens just to get a wild card spot. So we really need to at least split this with them, and coming out and winning this first one would be a great way to guarantee that happens, obviously, at least, or put us in a good spot to win both. I would really like to avoid having to, lose this one and then be forced to win the next one, or you're in big trouble. So hopefully they just come out hot, get a lead, like I said, and we can take that into the bye week. That would make a lot of Browns fans feel a lot better, I think, a division win heading into the bye week. So we'll see what happens between the Bengals and the Steelers. That's important. We're all really close in this division, so we'll see what happens there. And what kind of position that will put us in if we win or if we lose tonight, and see what we got going forward. I'll probably not make a video after the game just because it's going to be late. If I do anything, I'll probably try and call into Quincy's post-game show if he's doing that, because I'm one of his patrons. So if you watch Quincy, check out his live stream after the game, and hopefully I'll be on there. I will try and do a post-game video, for better or worse, whether we lose or win, maybe tomorrow after work, and get it out either tomorrow night, or maybe I'll wait till Tuesday morning just because uploading in the morning is usually better. I should have done that today. But, yep, I'll be back again after. I'll let you guys know what my thoughts are on it. Let's just hope we can, win this first one, like I said, and be in a good spot. Screw the Ratbirds. Go Browns. Thanks for watching, everybody.